Does he know? Are they gonna meet in person? They met in person. Hi everyone, my name is Mimi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to Dr. Stone Season 4 Episode 7, The Two Scientists. Last episode we were introduced to 3 new characters, I believe. Luna, Carlos and Max. Luna has been chosen by, what's his name again? Stanley, to infiltrate our team and get her to drag Taijo onto the boat, give him like a couple of seconds or whatever so that he can snipe him. And then she went there. Our team doesn't trust him. They know who she is. Like, they know she's there for information, but they still were able to extract, Senku especially was able to extract from her a particular phrase that a particular scientist used to say, and that immediately told Senku who Xeno was. And he said that Xeno was basically his science mentor. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That was a reveal that I was not expecting. But it's like, what you gonna do about it? So that's what happened last episode. And before we get into this one, if you guys have my reaction, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and please consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/feelingme. And now let's start this episode, and here we go.
Okay guys, in case the reaction gets blocked and I had to cut out the reaction itself, you can just look in the pinned comment in the comment section where for the link to the reaction highlight itself, so you can just click on it, watch it, and then you just come back for my review.
Luna. Yeah. Oh, so they were in communication. I didn't actually notice that before. I just thought he was a scientist that he followed, he read his papers and stuff like that. But actually, from what I could tell, there was a communication between them. Oh my goodness. And now he's trying to kill him. What the heck? I wonder if he knows that it's Senku, if he's still gonna want to kill him. I don't know. Save me, oh lale, oh lale, I won't let you down, oh lale, oh lale. I've been trying new positions for my cameras and stuff, and it's like, this is another new setup that I'm trying out. Oh yeah, the two scientists. Stay there. Flashback. He exploded. Of course you don't get it. Don't even try. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, PC. Oh my god. That's so funny. I think it's also like the voice actor The way he's reading off the things, I don't know, it's so funny. Oh, it's 20, so there's a 10 years difference. Okay. Oh, I didn't see his last name.
あれこれ計算式を書いたが、結論から言うと尿部合金のノズルが必須だ。ドクターセンク、君を迷わせている原因はおそらくデータのブレだな。NASA のドクター X より。
Oh, why?
サンキュー。100均で売ってるか？いくらすんだ？
No. I knew Byakuya would probably have something to do with it.
アメリカまで来てくれたわよ。
魔法のカード。
The credit card is the magic.
アメリカで軍艦に入るともらえる。科学に関するもんなら何でもタダで買える。
で、速攻帰国。次ちゃんと来んのいいっす。
クレカの期限で更新。この山盛り機材とドクター X 先生のそそるオンライン講座で調べまくる。
Project Helium. I wonder if that's a clue to something. What is Project Helium? Rejected. That's what's turning him evil.
あらゆる知見が足んねえよ。科学っつうのは
Is it again, though? Is that gonna be it?
科学とは力だ。良い人間が愚かな民衆を正しく導き支配することができる。実にエレガントな力だよ、ドクターセンク。
俺はただアホみたく世界の秘密、宇宙の秘密を知り
That's why we love you, man.
全部
You just want to learn how things work, and that's it. And he wants to rule the world, basically. Oh, yeah. What is Project Helium?
もしも石器時代の世界に飛ばされたらどうする？
ゼロから科学の武器を作って独裁者になれるね。なりてえか？
他にも科学者がいたら？
そうさ。世界の仕組みを何でもかんでも知りてえって欲張りなやつが。俺の息子みてえなのがよ。原始のストーンワールドでどちらが科学を極めるのか。つまり自家製のミサイルにも細菌やウイルスなどの生物兵器の搭載が可能となるわけだ。
何でもかんでも鳥の汁だけは知っとかねえとな。
どこ行くんだセンク？
アフリカ。
何？
What is he getting over here?
ラスコが来るぜ。
親子仲がいいのね。
いや、名前はセンクつってな。センク。
Does he know? Are they gonna meet in person? They met in person.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't talk? Well, they acknowledge each other basically by standing next to each other, and why not?
Honmonoのつぼみが石化したもので間違いないね。
面白い切り口だな。いかにも若者の科学だ。
僕ではない。その分析データをアップしたのは高校生だ。
ツバメの内臓まで作られてる。
これは地球規模、宇宙規模の異常現象だ。NASA のドクターゼノ、君の英知も借りたい。
カー る石みてえな多孔質穴ぼこの石なのか。なら試してみっか。ツバメ石像の羽代わりにしていけっかどうか。聞いてくれセンキュー、俺は決めた。
Oh, he was about to try that, and then this everyone got. I remember this.
よしできたなガソリン。こいつを核磁気共鳴装置にかけりゃ炭素の長さの分布で
Oh, so it did work?
調べまくる。
But you didn't have time to.
試しまくる。
ただの技術の祭典のはずじゃんよ。
Stanley.
俺ら特殊部隊までご招集かい。
スーパーヒーローが大集合じゃねえか。
That's the girl.
硝酸を染み込ませたガラスウールを端子に電位差測定器にかけた。
That's his excited face.
脳波だよ。実にエレガントじゃないか。この石像はまだ生きている。
つまりその新兵器やられたやつは気合で起きてっとワンチャンあんぜってことか。
送ります。この指輪。気取ってんじゃねえぞカルロス、このナンパ野郎。お嬢？
あの光。
Yeah.
退避。遮蔽物の後方。よし、おそらく石化の不可避だ。勝負はその後。絶対に意識を飛ばす。これお嬢のもんだし、絶対になくしたくねえし。させん。後で洗います。
So that's what keeps repeating?
何十時間も寝ないで動かないのなんか狙撃で散々慣れてっかんね。
So who's gonna wake up first? Probably Xeno, right?
我々のいたピナクルズ国立公園は小石の洞窟だらけだ。ならば小さんも。
1、2、3、4。
This still amazes me, man. The fact that he was counting all that time, it still amazes me.
目覚めのチャンスは来る。
もしも目覚めることができたならば、目指すべきは畜産の飼料と燃料のアルコールを同時に生み出せる。もし他にも化学屋がいれば、そこに集まることになる。
そりゃ運命とかじゃねえ。
So this woke up at the same time?
それこそが。科学だ。
It's gonna be over. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of nice to see basically how they got into contact, into how they sort of woke up. It seems like at the same time. Maybe it's not at the same time, but the show's like, since they're showing us both sides of sort of like the same story, they're just giving it to us like at the same time. So it might be that they might not have woken up at the same time, but someone woke up before the other or whatever. But it was kind of nice to see. You know, at the end of last episode, I was thinking that, like I said during the intro, that I just thought that that Senku just sort of like followed his papers, you know, and stuff like that. I didn't actually realize that they were in contact, you know, that they were communicating with each other over the years, you know. And just realizing that, it makes this even more I don't know. At least if it was, you know, like I was saying last episode, be careful meeting your idol or something or other like that. I believe I said something like that during my discussion of last episode. But he actually met him, you know, and you can tell based off of their communications that the way Dr. Zeno's mind was going, Senku didn't care about that. Like, he could tell that his mind was going to darker places, because this guy was talking about biological weapons and science is power. Those kind of thinking takes you somewhere completely different. While Senku is just like, he just wants the knowledge. He just wants to know how things work. That's all he wants. But this guy is like, I want to learn all these things so that I can be a dictator, basically. Because when they were in the cafeteria, I believe, or in Byakuya, like they all knew each other. Like Byakuya knew him. Like, oh my goodness. So like when they were in the cafeteria, and then there was the one scientist, the one woman scientist that was like, what would happen if you were like in the back in the Stone Age? What would you do? And then he's like, basically he's gonna become a dictator, make weapons of mass destruction or something or other, and become a dictator. You know, and that's what's happening. He's in his kingdom, and then he's asking the our kingdom of science to submit to him, and because they didn't want to, now he's like, I'm gonna kill the scientists, and then they're gonna be basically forced to surrender to me. That's like a dictatorship kind of mentality, kind of thinking, kind of doing. That's what he's become. And now it's not now, but like at first it seemed like his mind wasn't going the dictatorship kind of way until he was working on this particular project, Helium, for it seems like for a while. But then when he presented his project to, I guess, his superiors or the government or something, whoever he presented it to, he got denied. Why was he denied though? I feel like they probably were thinking that it's too dangerous. Since this guy is like so into creating weapons, that's probably another kind of weapon that they felt like it would be maybe too costly, like too dangerous, and they didn't want to go through with it, you know? So when he got rejected like that, you can see his eyes sort of like darken, and just you can see where the point of change. If he was already a dictator in the beginning, and that just sort of like solidified it, I don't know. But that there was that moment where his eyes just like turned this shade of dark, that you just knew that he's far gone now. And I believe it was after that point that he started talking, I'm not gonna say nonsense, but just talking about power and um weapons, like biological weapons and stuff. And you could tell that Senko noticed it, because when I believe the first thing that he said before, I think the first thing he said is science is power. And then it was after that I started talking about the biological weapons and stuff like that. I think I can't guarantee that that's the sequence of it. But either way, Senku saw the difference. Okay. He didn't particularly care. He just wants the knowledge that this guy knows, The guy will be they will be sending each other messages, and then the guy will be like, this is sort of like basically the same thing as like a rocket is basically the same thing as a missile. It's like, okay, Sick was like, okay, like, yeah, I guess I understand the science of everything behind it, but I don't particularly care about building a missile. I don't know. It's just, and then they were like were going through their stories and everything. So they were going through their stories, right? To the story, and then there came a point where Senku was gonna go back to the US to get his the credit card renewed or something or other, that he can buy any kind of scientific equipment he wanted for free. And he went there, and Byakuya was telling people that his son was coming, and he's like, his son's name is Senku, and then you see the recognition in Zeno's mind, and Senku's just standing there, I believe, in front of a rocket or something, and then Zeno came and stood like right beside him. They didn't speak to each other, but you knew that they both knew who the other person was, you know. And then Byakuya came in and he just sort of like left, and then that was it. So I'm guessing that was the only point of contact, physical contact between those two. And then after that, they started showing us basically the day before the world got petrified, right? And where there was all these swallows that were turned into stone, and Senku was the first scientist that actually um basically told the world that these were real swallows, you know. So the CDC had I guess samples of a swallow, and they were studying it and everything, and then they asked for Zeno's help, and then they were gonna have this sort of a meeting the next day. But before that, I guess they were having some kind of dinner where Stanley was there, the woman that was eating the meat was there, and other people as well. And I guess they are part of we know Stanley is a sniper, but the others are probably some kind of soldier type people, you know. And they were there. Seno was gonna be presenting the next day to, I guess, a whole bunch of people in the whole world that they were probably gonna be under some kind of attack since this swallow was still alive, and he was telling them that as long as your brain waves are keep firing, I guess, that you were gonna still be alive, you know. So when the Luna was also there, and then the two underlings, they were also there, and one of them had a ring, I guess, and then they saw the light coming, and everyone just like preparing, thinking they were going to be protecting each other or something or other like that, but there was no kind of protection that was going to be happening. Now Zeno was under Stanley's protection. The Carlos and Max, they had this table like in front, and they sort of like were trying to protect Luna, but it's like this thing petrified everybody. No matter what position you were in, what you were covering yourself with, it didn't really matter. So they were, turned to stone. They also showed us, on Senku's side, how he was gonna use the swallow to make gasoline or something. Or did I miss? Remember that? I don't know, but he was gonna use the swallow for something, and I believe he was about to do the experiment, and that's where Taiju came in and telling him that he was gonna confess to Yuzuriha, and that didn't happen, and then the petrification thing happened, and then they sort of like went through everyone's mind as to like what they were thinking in order to keep themselves awake. You have Luna that's like, I'm a capable woman, I can't just die and whatever. She was just screaming the same things over and over. One of the, I believe it was Max, that was like he needed to protect her. And then you have Stanley that's like, I'm used to staying away for a long period of time. And he had Zeno there. Zeno's just thinking scientific stuff, thinking, okay, if I wake up, then I need to basically get to where he is today, have corn and create a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, then you have Senku over there counting, and then the acid dropping on both of them, I guess. And then they woke up. And now they're facing each other. I wonder how the reunion is gonna be. Ay, ay, ay. I love that moment. It was just so funny to me. When Senku was trying to build his rocket or whatever, and then the thing exploded. And then he just went on the computer and just like spammed male, like a whole bunch of scientists all over the world. And then the one came that there was one sort of like simple one from whichever kid that was like, if the sky is blue, why is space black or something? Or I don't know. I forgot the question. And the scientists, they were just sort of like laughing it off, you know. And then they opened Senku's. And what, just like this whole bunch of like scientific things that the voice actor would just read it off in such a way that it just made it so funny. Like the scientists were not expecting this kind of level of details and things from a 7-year old. Was he 7 at that time? It must have been 10, because it started with 10 when they put his name on the screen. They were like 10 years old, so it must be 10. From this 10 years old, I think it was, or was it the 7-year-old one that was talking about the sky? I don't know, but either way, they like, no, this can't be from a kid. It must be, you know, from an adult or something or other like that, pretending to be a kid. But then you have Zeno in the background that took it seriously and then contacted Senku and just basically told him that he needed to get this thing and, you know, get rid of these things. And he just like, okay, let me look it up. And the thing was so expensive. And then he goes to his father and he's like, give me the magic card. And the magic card was a credit card that he can use to buy any kind of scientific equipment that he needed, you know. So he took that and then he went away. And Byakuya was just like, he's so mean, basically. You just came here for the card, like, you don't want to see your dad. But you know, even as he says that, he also loves the fact that his son is so science focused, you know. So it's like, I don't know, I love the relationship between Byakuya and Senku. So yeah, he got his card and left and bought all the things that he needed. And as he's doing all his experiments, he'll be contacting Xeno and they'll be talking about how things are going and what he needed to do, what he needed to learn, and all those things. Yeah, I hate this. Like, to have someone that mentored you be your enemy, I don't know, it's gonna be, I feel like it's gonna be hard on Senku, but he's still gonna take it in stride because that's just who he is. And I feel like when it comes to Xeno, even if he feels a slight twinge of it'll be kind of a sad thing to lose the scientific mind. He still through with it with killing Senku if he wants the kingdom to submit to him, you know. Like he said, he's the dictator. He's just gonna go against the scientific person, get rid of him, and keeps his dictatorship going, you know. So I don't see him. He may feel a slight twinge of regret, but it's not gonna overshadow what he wants to accomplish. That's what I think. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this reaction, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, and if you want to see all my previous Dr. Stone reactions, the link to the playlist is in the pinned comment. You just click on it and you can check it out. And you can also consider supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/Helium, where you can find all my early access to all the animes that I'm currently reacting to, and all my full-length reactions are there as well. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Ramama, 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 hey. Ramama, 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 hey. Ramama, 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 hey.